Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayath Adawadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. So, this evening's lesson is going to be about the law, the biblical law concerning murder, and in a comparison to this modern day law of this wicked ass society when it comes to murder. Okay, so we're going to read a little bit of this article here where it says murder in the United States law, and there's another page we're going to take a little look at. It's called United States Federal Witness Protection Program. Okay, so we're going to start here with murder in the United States law, and it says, in the United States, the law for murder varies by jurisdiction. In many U.S. jurisdictions, there is a hierarchy of acts known collectively as homicide, of which first-degree murder and felony murder are the most serious, followed by second-degree murder, and in a few states, third-degree murder, which in other states is divided into voluntary manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter, such as reckless homicide and negligent homicide, which are the least serious, and ending finally in injustifiable homicide, which is not a crime. However, because there are at least 52 relevant jurisdictions, which each with its own criminal code, this is a considerable simplification. Sentencing also varies widely depending upon the specific murder charge. Life imprisonment is a common penalty for first-degree murder, but its meaning varies widely. Capital punishment is a legal sentence in 27 states, and in the federal civilian and military legal systems through 8 of these states. And the federal government have indefinitely suspended the practice. The United States is unusual in actually performing executions, with 34 states having performed executions since capital punishment was reinstated in 1976. The methods of execution have varied, but the most common method since 1976 has been lethal injection. In 2019, a total of 22 people were executed, and 2,652 people were on death row. Now, the Federal Unborn Victims of Violence Act, enacted in 2004 and codified in 18 U.S. Code in 1841, allows for a fetus to be treated as victims in crimes. Subsection C of that statute specifically prohibits prosecutions related to consented abortions and medical treatments. Well, we all know how this whole thing with my body, my choice is working out for these women, because a lot of their abortion rights in some places are being taken from them. So these women are going to have to learn to take accountability. Stop, going around and letting these random men just run right through you, and then next thing you know, you don't know who the dad is. Okay, so a lot, these women that do go through with abortions, they're gonna have a heavy price to pay. But aside from that, okay, now jurisdiction. If murder is committed within the borders of a state, that state has jurisdiction, and in a similar way, if the crime is committed in the District of Columbia, the D.C. Superior Court, the equivalent of the state court in the district, retains jurisdiction through, in some cases involving U.S. government property or personnel. The federal courts may have exclusive jurisdiction if, however, the victim is a federal official, an ambassador, a consul, or other foreign official under the protection of the United States, or if the crime took place on federal property or involved crossing state borders, or in a manner that substantially affects interstate commerce or national security. Then the federal government also has jurisdiction if a crime is not committed within any within any state, then federal jurisdiction is exclusive. For example, vessels of the U.S. Navy or the U.S. Merchant Marine in international waters and U.S. military bases worldwide. Recently, the Supreme Court in the McGirt decision reaffirmed that major crimes within the reservation boundaries of Native American tribes for which a tribal member is suspected must be investigated and prosecuted by the federal, not state government. Federal penalties will apply if found guilty. In addition, murder by a member of the United States Armed Forces of a prisoner while under custody of the United States Armed Forces is in violation of Article 118 of the UCMJ Uniform Code of Military Justice can result in the perpetrator being tried by a general court-martial, subjected to certain types of jurisdiction within its own borders or with foreign nations. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to. Okay, so. All right, so here we go. Let me read this last paragraph here. It says, jurisdiction of the crime of murder can be complex as a result of the principle of dual sovereignty that is part of federalism. In case where a murder involves both state and federal jurisdiction, the offender can be tried and punished separately for each crime without raising issues of double jeopardy. Unless the court believes that the new prosecution is merely a sham forwarded by the prior prosecutor. In the United States, there is no statute of limitation on the crime of murder. All right, so these are the degrees of murder here. You got the first division of the general crime of murder into greater subcategories was enacted into the law of Pennsylvania in 1794. This enactment is often explained in terms of a desire to narrow the scope of application of capital punishment in the state and in the other states, which subsequently graded murder into first and second degrees. The English common law, which had been received into the laws of the United States, and at the time applied capital punishment to a large number of crimes. As a result, states statutorily divided the crime of murder into first and second degrees and began applying capital punishment only to criminals convicted of first-degree murder. By 1953, 3 states, namely Florida, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, had further created the subcategory of third-degree murder. Okay, now, states have adopted several different systems for classifying murders by degree. The most common separates murder into 2 degrees, first and second degree murder, and treats voluntary and involuntary manslaughter as separate crimes that do not constitute murder instead of third-degree murder. So, first degree murder, any intentional killing that is willful and premeditated with malice aforethought. Felony murder, a charge that may be filed against a defendant who is involved in a dangerous crime where a death results from the crime, is typically first degree but may also be second degree. Second degree murder, any intentional killing that is not premeditated or planned, a situation in which the killer intends only to inflict serious bodily harm, knowing this could result in death but with no specific intent to kill, constitutes depraved heart murder, which can be considered as second-degree murder. This depraved heart. Hold on. Okay, Slovakia on that one. Okay, so I already read the jurisdictions. Now let's get the degrees. Slovakia. Okay, so depraved heart. It says in the United States, depraved heart murder, also known as depraved indifference murder, is a type of murder where an individual acts with a depraved indifference to human life, where such acts results in a death despite the individual not explicitly intending to kill. Okay. Now we have voluntary manslaughter, sometimes called crime of passion. Murder, a crime of passion murder, and informally called third-degree murder. This is any intentional killing that involves no prior intent to kill and which is committed under such circumstances that would cause a reasonable person to become emotionally or mentally disturbed. Both this and second-degree murder are committed on the spot under a spur-of-the-moment choice. But the two differ in the magnitude of the circumstances surrounding the crime. For example, a bar fight that results in death would ordinarily constitute second-degree murder. If that same bar fight stemmed from a discovery of infidelity, however, it may be voluntary manslaughter. And there's another thing too that it's called, I think they call it temporary insanity, where like instead of spur of the moment, like you see it happening right then and there, and then you just act without thinking, like it just happens right there on the spot. I think that's another way for them to say mentally or emotionally or mentally disturbed is temporary insanity. I'll have to look that up here in a second. But involuntary manslaughter. A killing that stems from a lack of intention to cause death, but involving an intentional act of negligence, which may or may not be premeditated, leading to death. A drunk driving related death is typically involuntary manslaughter. You can look up in vehicular homicide, causing death by dangerous driving, gross negligence manslaughter. Okay, so let's see. And causing death by criminal negligence. Okay, now it says, now note that the unintentional element here refers to the lack of intent to bring about the death. All three crimes above feature an intent to kill, whereas involuntary manslaughter is unintentional because the killer did not intend for a death to result from their intentional actions. If there is a presence of intention, it relates only to the intent to cause a violent act which brings about the death, but not an intention to bring about the death. However, there are exceptions such as felony murder and depraved heart murder, the latter of which can be considered as voluntary manslaughter or second-degree murder instead of involuntary manslaughter, despite the lack of explicit intention to kill. So, the Model Penal Code classifies homicide differently without degrees under it. Murder is any killing committed purposely and knowingly, even if it is a crime of passion. Murder without malice aforethought. Manslaughter is any killing committed as a result of recklessness, also known as depraved heart murder. A negligent homicide is any killing resulting from negligence. Okay. Some states classify murder differently. In Pennsylvania, first-degree murder encompasses premeditated murder. Second-degree murder encompasses accomplice liability. And when you're an accomplice to murder, which means that, you see the murder going on, but you do nothing to stop it. So that makes you an accomplice. A third degree serves as a catch-all for other murders in New York. First-degree murders involve special circumstances such as the murder of a police officer or witness to crime. Multiple murders or murders involving torture under the system. Second-degree murder is any other premeditated murder. New York statute also recognizes murder for hire as first-degree murder. Texas uses a scheme similar to New York's, but refers to first-degree murder as capital murder, a term which typically applies only to those crimes that merit the death penalty. Some states, such as Florida, do not separate the two kinds of manslaughter. So if you go down this list here, you could see the different states and the jurisdiction of the states, whether they with the whole first-degree murder, second-degree, third-degree, and other named categories. Oh yes, and fetal killing. So fetal homicide laws in the United States. The blue is homicide or murder, yellow is other crime against fetus, and purple is depends on age of fetus. Green, which is assaulting mother, and white is the no law on the fetus, on feticide. So under common law, an assault on a pregnant woman resulting in a stillbirth was not considered murder. Remedies were limited to criminal penalties for the assault on the mother and tort action for loss of the anticipated economic services of the lost child, for emotional pain and suffering, or both. With the widespread adoption of laws protecting unborn life, the assailant could be charged with that offense, but the penalty was often only a fine and a few days in jail. A number of states have passed fetal homicide laws, making killing of a fetus murder. The laws differ about the stage of development at which the fetus is protected. After several well-publicized cases, Congress in 2004 passed the Unborn Victims of Violence Act, which specifically criminalizes harming a fetus, with the same penalties as for a similar attack upon a person, when the attack would be a federal offense. Most such attacks fall under state laws. For instance, Scott Peterson was convicted of killing his unborn son as well as his wife under California's pre-existing fetal homicide law. Now, of course, when you have your sentencing, like I said, in some states there's life imprisonment to the death penalty. Okay. These are, California has all these right here, but I'm not going to go through it all, but just want to just read some things here on the whole thing with murder in the United States law. So go ahead and get into the scripts here, because I know I've rattled on long enough about this. I wasn't intended for this to be a long lesson, but hey, that's just, the Spirit just took me there. So we're going to get the book of Numbers. It's going to be the book of Numbers, the 35th chapter 35. Okay, this is Numbers chapter 35. And this is going to be verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, verse 2, command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possession cities to dwell in. So remember, the Levites are the priests. Okay, the priesthood is that's their inheritance, but they were given cities amongst the other tribes of Israel to dwell in. And also, the Hebrew pronunciation for Levi is Laya, and if you obviously Laya, when you look at that Hebrew word, it goes into the modern day word of lawyer, and that tells you what the Levites were. Okay, and what their position was. And it says here in verse 2, command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites of the inheritance of their possession cities to dwell in. And ye shall give also unto the Levites suburbs for the cities round about them. Verse 3, and the cities shall they have to dwell in, and the suburbs of them shall be for their cattle, and for their goods, and for all their beasts. Verse 4, and the suburbs of the cities, which ye shall give unto the Levites, shall reach from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. 1,000 cubits, I believe that's around 1,500 feet. And it says here, verse 5, and ye shall measure from without the city on the east side 2,000 cubits, which that would be 3,000 feet, and on the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, and on the north side 2,000 cubits, and the city shall be in the midst. This shall be to them the suburbs of the cities. And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities for refuge. Okay, which ye shall appoint for the manslayer, that he may flee thither, and to them ye shall add 42 cities. So 42 cities plus the 6 cities of refuge, so 48 cities. Okay, verse 7. So all the cities which ye shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities. Them shall ye give with their suburbs. Verse 8. And the cities which ye shall give shall be of the possession of the children of Israel. From them that have many ye shall give many, but from them that have few ye shall give few. Everyone shall give of his cities unto the Levites according to his inheritance which he inheriteth. 9. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 10. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come over Jordan into the land of Canaan. 11. Then ye shall appoint you cities, to be cities of refuge for you, that the slayer may flee thither which killeth any person at unawares. So, killing a person unawares means it was by accident, basically. Verse 12. And they shall be unto you cities for refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer die not, until he stand before the congregation in judgment. Okay. Verse 13. And of these cities which ye shall give, 6 cities shall ye have for refuge. So if there was an unintentional or accidental death, and that person flee to one of the cities of refuge, he was to be kept there, and the avenger of the victim was not to lay a hand, not to lay a hand on the slayer, and he would have to wait until trial and judgment. Okay. Let's see. I just read verse 12. Verse 13. And of these cities which ye shall give, 6 cities ye shall have for refuge. 14. Ye shall give 3 cities on this side of Jordan, and 3 cities ye shall give in the land of Canaan, which shall be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be a refuge both for the children of Israel, and for the stranger, and for the sojourner among them, that every one that killeth any person unawares may flee thither. And if he smite him with an instrument of iron, so that he die, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he smite him with throwing a stone, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. 18. Or if he smite him with an hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. Verse 19. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. So, we can't do that here in this society. If someone takes the life of someone that we care about or someone that we know, we cannot avenge that person by slaying the assailant with ourselves. We have to what? We have to call the police, and you know how that works out. The police, they take forever to arrive on scene, and so on and so forth. It's the police nowadays, you really can't trust them, because you know how it is with them. Not the most reliable bunch, but this is Edom society, so we have no choice but to play by his rules. Okay, so I'll read verse 19 again. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. So if we do that here, we'll be the bad guy and we'll get thrown in prison. Verse 20, but if he thrust him of hatred, or hurl at him by laying of weight, that he die. Or verse 21, or an enmity smiteth him with his hand, that he die. He that smote him shall surely be put to death. For he is a murderer. The revenger of blood shall slay the murderer when he meeteth him. 22, verse 22, but if he thrust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying of weight, or without any intention, or without any without any intention or premeditation, or any prior hate, or whatever the case. Verse 23, or with any stone wherewith a man may die, seeing him not, and cast it upon him that he die, and was not his enemy, neither sought his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood according to these judgments. Verse 25, and the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to the city of his refuge, whither he was fled, and he shall abide in it until the death of the high priest, which was anointed with the holy oil. So, like I said, an accidental killing. It says that you have to stay within the city of refuge until the high priest passes on. And we're going to get right here, verse 26, but if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge, whither he was fled, verse 27, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood. So, the revenger will not be guilty for taking his life. Verse 28, like I said earlier in verse 26, you have to wait until the high priest of that city of refuge passes on, and then you can return back. Okay, verse 28, because he should have remained in the city of his refuge until the death of the high priest, but after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his possession. 29, so these things shall be for a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Verse 30, whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, but one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. So multiple witnesses have to be saying the same thing. Okay, you need multiple witnesses backing up the same claim. So not by the mouth of one person. Verse 31, moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer. And with that word satisfaction, meaning no bribes, no payment for a life, okay? No ransom, none of that. So, verse 31, moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall be surely put to death. And ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again to dwell in the land until the death of the high priest. Okay? So you can't take no bribes and no ransoms, okay? Because remember, bribery corrupts. I can't remember that script. But, bribery corrupts the heart. Okay? It causes you, it causes you to cloud your better logical judgment on things. Okay, verse 33, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So, in this case that we're in right now, Esau, Edom, you can say that not just this land, but you could say the world will be cleansed, once, his blood has been shed, especially here in America after what he did to the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The blood will be cleansed with the blood of him that shed it. In verse 34, defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. Okay? So that was on murder. That was the book of Numbers, chapter 35, verses 1 through 34. Now, in the case of a pregnant woman, that was in Exodus, I think it was Exodus 21. And 20. Yep, there we go. So, Exodus 21 and 22. It says, if men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit, meaning her baby, her child inside, depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. Verse 23, and if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. So basically being put to death for it. Verse 24, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot. 25, burning for a burning, wound for a wound, stripe for stripe. So there you go. Okay, that's that part on when it comes to women. Let me get the book of Joshua here. Joshua, the 20th chapter. Joshua. There we go. Joshua chapter 20. Starting at I'll start at the top, verse 1. It says, the Lord also spake unto Joshua, saying, verse 2, speak to the children of Israel, saying, appoint out for you cities of refuge, whereof I spake unto you by the hand of Moses, that the slayer that killeth any person unawares and unwittingly may flee thither, and they shall be your refuge from the avenger of blood. 4. And when he that doeth flee unto one of those cities shall stand at the entering of the gate of the city, and shall declare his cause in the ears of the elders of that city. Plead his case. All right. They shall take him in to the city unto them, and give him a place that he may dwell among them. Verse 5, and if the avenger of blood pursue after him, then they shall not deliver the slayer up into his hand, because he smote his neighbor unwittingly. In other words, by accident. It wasn't intentional, and hated him not before time. Verse 6, and he shall dwell in the city until he stand before the congregation for judgment, and until the death of the high priest that shall be in those days. Then shall the slayer return and come unto his own city, and unto his own house, unto the city from whence he fled. Okay. In verse 7, this goes into the cities that were appointed amongst the 12 tribes, from 7 on down. Well, I'll get it anyway, just for edification. Verse 7, and they appointed Kadesh in Galilee, and Mount Naphtali, and Shechem, and Mount Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron in the mountain of Judah, and the other side of Jordan, by which Jericho eastward they assigned Bet-Bezer, in the wilderness upon the plain, out of the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead, out of the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan, out of the tribe of Manasseh. And these were the cities appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the stranger that sojourneth among them, that whosoever killeth any person at unawares might flee thither, and not die by the hand of the avenger of blood, until he stood before the congregation. Okay, so basically these cities of refuge were, what I'm about to go into is basically something like the witness protection program here. And it says the United States Federal Witness Protection Program, the WPP, also known as Witness Security Program, or WITSEC, is a witness protection program codified through 18 U.S. Code and administered by the United States Department of Justice. And of course, there's a picture of a U.S. Marshals doing a drill of guarding a protected witness. The program is operated by the United States Marshals Service and is designed to protect threatened witnesses and their family members before, during, and after a trial when those witnesses have an association with the federal government. The program was originally authorized by the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970 and later amended by the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984. The amended issues included bail, sentencing reform, pleas for insanity, and penalties for drug uses. The history. The WITSEC program was formally established under Title V or Title V of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, which states that the United States Attorney General may provide for the relocation and protection of a witness or potential witness of the federal government or a state government in an official proceeding concerning organized crime or other serious offenses. Federal government also gives grants to the states to enable them to provide similar services. The precursor to WITSEC was the Federal Witness Protection Program, created in the mid-1960s by Gerald Schur. The attorney in charge of the Intelligence and Special Services Unit of the Organized Crime and Racketeering Section of the United States Department of Justice. Most witnesses are protected by the United States Marshal Service under the Department of Justice, while protection of incarcerated witnesses is the duty of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. From the WITSEC program, the Emergency Witness Assistance Program was created in 1997 to fill the need for immediate, non-protective, short-duration witness assistance not available through Witness Security Program and the Short-Term Protection Program. And as far as operations go, a handful of states, California, Connecticut, Illinois, New York, Texas, and Virginia, and Washington, D.C., have their own witness protection programs for crimes not covered by the federal program. These state-run programs provide less extensive protections, in part because the state governments lack the ability to issue federal documents such as social security cards to verify the new identity of protected witnesses. Another benefit of the federal program is that the Marshal Service provides payments to participants of about $60,000 on average, $60,000 on average, while also assisting them with finding housing and stable jobs under the new identities. There are two main types of witnesses who can be eligible for the program: fact witnesses and expert witnesses. Fact witnesses provide factual information and or personal knowledge to a case. Oftentimes, but not always, these witnesses were present at the scene of a crime. Expert witnesses provide technical or scientific testimony. Both types of witnesses will be compensated based on negotiations with the federal government attorney. As of 2020, approximately 19,000 witnesses and family members have been protected by the U.S. Marshal Service since the program began in 1971. The program has a 100% success rate. No witness that has followed the rules and guidelines set out by the U.S. Marshal Service has ever died in WITSEC. All right, I'm not gonna go, read all of this, but you can look this stuff up by yourself. But one thing is, let's see here, recidivism is described as a person's relapse into the criminal justice system without a new sentence within a 3-year period. Fewer than 17% of protected witnesses who have committed crimes are caught committing other crimes. While this is far lower than the national average, notable instances of protected witnesses returning to a life of crime exist, such as Sammy Gravano. Of course, Emergency Witness Assistance Program is the process of entering the Witness Protection Program can be prolonged for numerous reasons. The Emergency Witness Assistance Program, created in 1997, provides services more quickly, but participation is limited to a 30-day period. Its services include housing, transportation, subsistence payments, and child elder care. Okay. So, among these cities of refuge. It was basically like a witness protection program, or you know, just a place, place of safety for these type of individuals. But yeah, that's all I had on this lesson. Like I said, this was on the law of murder, the law concerning murder. But there's one thing I do want to get here. Let me save this into my bookmarks for further study, because I can always use this, keep this in my files for future lessons. Keep that right there. All right, let me go back. Let me, oh crap, dang it. Salaki on that. Go up here. Okay, now we're gonna look at now, because what people fail to realize is that there is a difference between kill and murder. So we're gonna get this. What is the difference between killing and murder? Okay, and it says here, BibleAsk.com, okay. Killing and murder are two different things, okay? So murder is the premeditated, unlawful taking of a life, whereas killing is more generally taking a life. The misconception that killing and murder are synonymous is partially based on the King James mistranslation of the Sixth Commandment, which reads, "Thou shalt not kill." Yeah, it should be, "Thou shalt not murder." However, the word "kill" is a translation of the well, I'll have to go back and research that, see if it's the actual word, but which nearly always refers to the intentional killing without cause. Now, the correct meaning of this word is murder. You shall not murder. Okay, now it says here in the Bible, in the basic English should say, "Do not put anyone to death without cause." Also, the same law that forbids murder permits killing in self-defense. If the thief is found breaking in and he is struck so that he dies, there shall be no guilt for his bloodshed. Let's see. That's Exodus chapter 22. Just to validate that. Exodus chapter 22, verse 2. And it says, I'm going to start at the top. Or, actually, no, sorry. Start verse 2 right here. Exodus 22 and 2, yeah. "If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him." Okay, because it was in a state of self-defense. Okay. Okay, and let's see here. Let's see. In the right of life, any true understanding of our relation to our neighbor points that we must respect and honor his life, for all life is sacred. The Lord says, "Surely for your lifeblood I will demand a reckoning. From the hand of a man, from the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he made man." So Genesis 9 and 5. Let's take a look at that. So let's see, Genesis chapter 9. So I get the pages of my sword are fighting against me here. So Genesis 9, chapter 9, verse 5, and it says, Genesis 9 and 5, "And surely your blood of your lives will I require, at the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, and at the hand of a man's brother will I require the life of man. Verse 6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of the Most High made he man. Okay? So, that's righteous. That if you kill somebody, the avenger, or a close friend or relative of that person that you killed, has the right to kill you. Okay? That's righteous. Okay? And if you kill somebody who's a threat to you, and it's out of a state, and if it's out of a situation of self-defense, defense of others that you care about, or defense of yourself, you have the right to defend yourself. As Exodus chapter 15 verse 3 says, the Most High is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Okay? All right. Let's go down. Let's see. Let's see. So, there's more going into this, but I just wanted to get the specifics on, Matthew chapter 5, verse 21. It says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, or it should be, thou shalt not murder. Whosoever shall murder shall be in danger of the judgment. Yep. And verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. I think when I looked in the blue letter, Raka goes into calling someone worthless, useless, or an idiot or something like that. I don't remember. I'll have to look at it again. And like I said, they shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Yee. All right then. Okay. So I hope that this was, like I said, this wasn't meant to be long. I just wanted to get make an edifying lesson on, a more thorough understanding of the law concerning murder and what it really entails. So I hope that this lesson was edifying to the body and to those that are new coming in, listening and learning with all sincerity. I'd like to give all honor and all glory and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. All right, double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity, and unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, and unto the Bayath of Dabadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala, Wa Ababa Bal, Shalawam, Barakatham.